Hey, welcome back to my channel. I make weekly art tutorials, paint-alongs and vlogs, and today I'm going to be going through everything I wish I knew before I started selling my art on Etsy. So these are just a few steps, key gems that would have made my life a lot easier and that hopefully will make your transition into selling art or whatever craft on Etsy a lot easier. So the first thing that I wish I knew earlier, you get 40 free listings if you click on the link that I have below for absolutely nothing. A listing is essentially an item that you have put up to sell, and every time that it sells, you kind of refresh the listing, which means that you have to pay again for it to come up. And usually this isn't a massive fee, it's probably like 20 pence, but everything adds up, especially when you're starting off a new business. So if you can avoid paying that, you should. And you get 40 free listings if you click on the link that I have listed down below. Use that to start off your Etsy, or save the link so that when you start, you get your first 40 listings completely free. As you know, I've been sharing my art journey and lots of my art pieces both on here but also on my Instagram at Sketches.n.Scrubs. But on the other side, I have a business called Max Paper, which is where I sell stationery and cards and art prints. Earlier this year, I made the move and I decided to sell some of these pieces on my Etsy store. So to just give you a few examples, these are some of the pieces that I've created. So I'm hoping that in sharing this video, you'll be able to start your own Etsy if that's what you want by putting your best foot forward. The next thing that I recommend is to really take some time to think about your Etsy store as a business. In my case, the reason that I started it was because I love sharing my art. It is not my main source of income, but that being said, it is still a business. Give you a brief overview on the things that I think are definitely important to consider. One is your business name. On Etsy, it has to be one word with no gaps in between it. Not only what is your name going to be on Etsy, but you also want to check other potential domains such as Instagram or Pinterest or Facebook or a domain name, just to make sure that they are all available so that you can use the same name across all platforms in a cohesive manner. I don't think you need to have all the social medias, but I definitely think it's good to have some form of social media to kind of feed into your business and to have an online presence outside of Etsy as well. Because eventually, hopefully, your business will outgrow Etsy and you'll get to a point where you're like, actually, my business can stand on its own, or I want it to be slightly separate. In the same vein, you should have a domain name, i.e. make sure that your business name is available as a domain so that when you want to have it separate to Etsy, you can. Your customers that found you on Etsy will be able to find you outside on the World Wide Web because the name is the same. So the easiest way to do that is to just have a look on something like GoDaddy, quickly search your name, see is it available, and then buy it for like 99 pence or £1 or something like that. This isn't sponsored, but this is just my heartfelt advice on what I think is worth doing and thinking about the longevity, i.e. the life of your business beyond Etsy. The next thing that you want to do in the same vein of a business plan is think about the things that you want to create, not only now, but perhaps in future, like what is your vision for your business, and also thinking about your target market, i.e. who are you selling to, what do they want, what will they enjoy, why will they enjoy it, is there a problem that you're solving? Because all these things will help you with marketing and will help you with growing your business and figuring out how exactly to present your business. Let me know down below if you have started your Etsy page or if you're thinking about starting your Etsy page and what you're going to sell as well. The next thing that you want to think about is doing the maths. You do not want to be in a position where you're making a loss with everything that you're selling. So you need to work out how much is it going to cost you to create this one item? How much is it going to cost you to package it, to post it, to wrap it up? All these things will inevitably add a certain amount of cost, and you just want to add it up regardless of how small you think it is, because it does add up. And after doing this, for example, if you find that it costs you £5 to create this card, it makes no sense for you to then sell it for £3.50. In my case, I was very particular about the aesthetic that I want my business to have and the experience that I want my customer to have when they're opening it and when they receive it. So I learned how to do wax seal stamps, I got special thank you cards, I got bookmarks, and I got all these extra things that I wanted to give my customer for free, and that's great and that's excellent. But it does mean that I was very, very close to very close to just making a loss with everything. And I think you have to think about that. You know, at the end of the day, it has to be a business, and in order for it to be sustainable, you need to not be making a loss with everything, and ideally be making a profit. Just make sure that it's making financial sense for you. So once you've done all this, so you've got your 40 free listings from the link down below, you have figured out a business plan, so you know your name, you know the social media handles, you know the domain name for the future, you know who you're selling to, you know why you're selling, you know what problem you're solving, you've done the maths so that you know you're not making a loss. In fact, you're going to be making a profit by selling XYZ. The next thing that you need to figure out is actually the listings that you're going to create. So there are some things that Etsy is going to ask you, and that if you perhaps sit down and do it before, I think it just makes it a bit quicker and a bit easier rather than doing it right there and then. So some of the things that you'll have to do, which in hindsight makes sense, but at the time I was doing it literally one by one, so it took me hours to set up the store when it shouldn't have, is the title of your product. The next thing you want to think about is 13 keywords. So these are words that you think your customer, your target market that you've already thought about, is going to type in order to find your product. So for example, with my cards, they might type in watercolor card, birthday card, purple birthday card, etc, etc, etc. So you want to write down all these kind of target terms that you think someone will type in order to find your product. And next, you want to think about the description that you want to write. People who tend to go on Etsy want to actually connect with the artist, want to connect with the creator. So instead of just getting this generic card, they're going to go and get it from an artist that they know, a small business, and someone that's sustainable, someone that literally cares about the piece that they've created. For that reason, they may want to know a little bit more about you, the story behind what you have created, and that can all go into the description. So for example, in my case, it would be, I'm a part-time artist, how my business started, all the designs come from original pieces that I have created. But as well as writing the things that you're happy to share about yourself, you also need to include the technical things that they may want to know. For example, that it's an A5 card, that it's made with 400 GSM cardstock, i.e. thick card, whether it has any lamination. So for example, in my case, they all have a matte finish. My prints were made with archival paper and archival ink, which means that they should last hundreds of years. So just have a think about who you are, what your business is, what the product is, why you created it, and then add the technical things such as, you know, the measurements, the colors, and the shipping as well, so that people know when to expect it. One thing that isn't 100% necessary, but that I recommend, is to try to do free shipping if you can. I think Etsy definitely boosts the listings that have free shipping. People tend to prefer free shipping, and I don't know, I think it's something psychological. And for me, myself as well, it may not necessarily make sense, but I would rather buy something that's £25 with free shipping than buy something that's £20 with £5 shipping. And I know that makes no sense. I know it's the same amount, but just consider it and let me know down below if you're also the same. The next thing that you want to think about is pictures. So you want to take really good quality pictures of your items, as many pictures as you can. Etsy is now also encouraging having videos as well, so just showing your items perhaps being used, but you just want to make it crisp and eye-catching, because ultimately that's the first thing that somebody is going to see, and that's what's going to make them decide on whether they click on you or not. And last but not least, but certainly something that I wish I had spent more time thinking about and a bit more involved in, is to think about marketing. I'm not necessarily talking about paying for advertising, but I think that you need to, you know, really take the time to let people know that you're going to launch, let people know that you're going to create an Etsy. Really take the time to put yourself out there. There is no shame in what you're doing. What you're creating is amazing. You should know that. Those around you will know that. And ultimately, people can't buy from you if they don't know that you exist. So you really have to make the effort, be present on whatever social media you're using, to share stories, share posts, do offers, do whatever you have to do to just be seen as well. Don't forget to have a look at my own Etsy page, Max Paper, to just have a look at the items that I'm selling, and if you want to buy something, that would be even more amazing. The next thing that I recommend is to just start. You know, there are so many things that you will not learn until you start your own business and until you're doing it day in and day out. And there are some things that there aren't enough videos, etc, to teach you. Sometimes experience really is the best teacher. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you find it useful, and And ultimately, I hope that it leads you to do what you want to do, which is start an Etsy and start a business. So that's essentially the nuts and crux of the business. So figure out your name, make sure it's available on social media, make sure that it's available as a domain name, and then figure out what you're going to be selling, who you're going to be selling to, i.e. who's your target market, why would they want it, what problem are you solving, what makes you special.